Hey, what's up, everyone? We're here round 4 at Arlington, covering some regionals action today, and we've got a spicy matchup for this round 4 action.
Russ Lepar playing set 1 Oden. He is currently 2-1 in the tournament.
Yeah.
Pretty spicy build.
Very. And he's playing up against Radel on Magellan.
Yeah.
So this is not your typical matchup. We're going to jump straight over there. It looks like they've already gotten started a little bit.
Yep.
Drawing their hands up.
All right. So what are we looking for from the Oden side? First of all, why would you play Oden?
Okay. There's pretty much two kind of locked cards to Oden. One of them being 6-drop Kinemon. Allows you to put a 3-drop card into play, and then when it attacks, you can untap 3-drop. So very cool there. The other one is a 5-drop. What's the name of that card? The name of the 5-drop card that
Dingero.
Dingero. Yes, Dingero is the one that lets you untap some Dawn if you attack with a Dawn attached.
Yeah, and it's a 5K, a 5 Dawn 7K, so really strong card.
Yep.
Kind of like one of the better cards from Oden.
And it's kind of interesting because Magellan wants to kind of attack you down, sometimes minus your Dawn by playing their own Magellans.
And we see a Bonnie in hand, we see Momonosuke in hand on Oden's side.
And then the Kinemon's sometimes just not going to care that there's Dawn's missing. He's going to play, or I'm sorry, the Oden player's not going to care because he's going to play Kinemon.
Yeah, well,
Zokikus and Raizos.
Magellan being really strong at establishing a board and kind of punishing you if you try to take down their board. So that's like one of the strongest things. So, Oden going to lose some impact when it tries to do that exact thing.
Yes.
So, we're going to see Oden need to keep tempo up the entire game while also not being able to, exactly like free swing on things with Dingero.
Yep.
So we'll see how that gets handled.
Yeah, we see a search with Bonnie here.
Okay.
We'll get a couple
so
options.
Capone, definitely seeing Yamato already.
Beige's pretty good.
Some of the new Land of Wayno cards that you get to pick up in the Oden deck is really powerful. Yamato being, like, if I had to guess, the strongest upgrade for this deck, that would be up there.
Coming across for 5 with the leader, takes it, and then plays a Beige and plays out on Momo and does not use it.
That's right.
Interesting.
Yeah, just kind of flooding the board here, playing a little bit Lost style.
Yeah, a little bit. There was a consideration probably to play Momo and tap it in the same turn. You can't attack down both things. So there's an interesting play there. But I think playing the Beige out helps protect too. You can use that to block for the Bonnie and then keep both of them for the next turn. Coming in for 9.
Okay, really big, really big attack there to clear out the Capone gang. So that's a curious attack because you know your opponent will block. So it really is a concession that you probably don't have much going on, or your opponent's probably lighter on blockers, and you're recognizing that.
Yeah, and usually the Magellan deck is pretty flush on 4-drops. They've got the pair of the double attacker and the blocker that ramped on, and both of those cards generally help you, or you can find those pretty easily. Right. So not having that on this turn does feel very punishing.
And here we're seeing the power of the Searcher engine. You get to see him add Scratchmanapu this turn, as well as Izo.
And that's just a straight 4K added to hand for 2 Dawn. That seems exceedingly good.
And 5K coming across. Magellan already took 1 damage this round.
I have to imagine if they don't have a 4-drop here, that they're going to want to take this life to find something to do with the Dawn that's going on.
Additional card draw. You can probably go down to 3 safely.
Yeah.
You are going to have more blockers than your opponent will in
definitely.
the Magellan side. So
the problem here is if he follows up with Okiku, that will be a problem for your blockers.
And we'll see.
A grip full of options, unfortunately.
We're seeing Killer in there, so we will have an additional blocker there.
Blocker Killer could be quite good here.
And I think that's what's coming down, too. So we are just drawing 3 cards this turn.
We are out here outvaluing as much as we can.
Still at 5 life as well. And, these attacks here are going to look for the Momonosuke, going to look for the Joy Bonnie. If I'm in the Magellan position, I'm definitely wanting to attack the Momonosuke first, kind of considering that, hey, Joy Bonnie probably has less targets in the deck.
Yes.
King going to come down, probably take care of the Killer.
Yep, get it out of the way, and then we get an attack wherever we want here.
I say 5K on the Momonosuke.
It's 6K from the ability of Magellan.
Oh,
actually.
Look at that!
Yeah, because you minus the Dawn for King, you get the ability on the Magellan to get an extra 1,000 power.
And we did see that 6K swing on Jory Bonnie using the additional 1K to get over Bonnie's base.
Yep.
Very powerful there, but like I said, I think that Momonosuke was the juicier target on that turn. You are going to be, Jory Bonnie is going to potentially miss.
Yes, absolutely. Now this is Purple's power, right? Purple's pretty good at climbing back into the game once you've lost it a little bit. So losing out on these early turns doesn't really cost, I don't think, Purple a whole lot here.
They're at 3. They have a King established already. We're going to the next stage of the game here, and we
Yep,
do see
there's
Dendro
there's
come
a Dendro.
down.
Mm-hmm.
Very strong.
A quick little read of a card that nobody ever sees. And then you can attach 1 Dawn to untap 2 on your side.
Certainly going to round 4 here, you did not expect your opponent to be on Oden, so you're going to have to reread that leader real quick and
just,
reread some of the cards
make
you've
sure.
never read. And we are seeing Queen in hand.
Okay, so we have probably a couple interesting options here. There's something like a Magellan to play to give you another good body to the board. This is probably one of the better spots for 7-drop King. Otherwise, you can try and hold out towards the late turn and use that to blow up a bunch of blockers.
Well, while Oden is kind of, a little bit slower from having played those searchers in the earlier game, I think continuing to pressure with more 7K removals characters are pretty strong here. You're getting to make your board a little bit beefier as well as take care of certain things that are on the table.
Okay, and we saw the Queen come down, draw a couple cards, get some value there, give us an extra attack power, or an extra 1,000 power on the Magellan as it comes in.
Yes.
And the King also coming across for a crack, it looks like. Going down to 3 life, get some cards back into hand.
Not a ton of early play on the Magellan side, so probably the Queen is coming down to look for card quality over anything else. The blocker is certainly nice, but a 6K blocker versus the 7K Dendro, certainly a little bit, leaves a little bit wanting.
Okay.
And
Bonnie comes down. We're searching for a supernova here.
do see another Bonnie come down. Yeah, we're adding
a
Bonnie.
Bonnie.
Let's go. Okay.
It is straight value town here as we keep adding cards and searching.
Certainly Bonnie does not suffer from the red curse of not being able to add itself. And we are going to see that go.
And
oh,
8-drop
wow,
Kid.
8-drop Kid. We do not see that very often. That's really powerful. And especially, one of the strengths of Kid is when you get to play it and then you still have Dawn open. So we already see the Dendro established. We have now hit a play pattern where we're about to see 8-drop Kid come down and then swing with Dendro. And on that same turn, we're going to untap Dawn to be able to protect the Kid with our events.
Yes.
Very strong, especially Oden's ability there still, too, to give us additional Dawn.
And now we're searching again. The Momo's going to town. So, Kiku at least.
Just an absolute ton of searchers here.
Pretty good ad. Now we can probably attach a Dawn.
And that is a full grip about to protect this 8-drop Kid next turn.
Yeah. Dendro gets the Dawn added. That untaps 2 Dawn. Oden can attack for 2 more, and then you could play the Okiku, or you could do something like play some blockers in the way like a Beige. But you would be a character limit, which is probably not what the aim is here.
All right, we are considering how much we're attacking for here. And looks like we could be considering an attack on the King here.
Oh, I see a Punk Gibson. That's also a consideration.
Oh,
definitely something that you could consider to hold up. If there's a missequence by your opponent, could definitely use that to tap down a blocker.
Gonna swing 9 on the King there.
Okay, sure. That also makes sense.
It's 2K over, so if you want to get out of it, you're gonna have to Hell's Bagua.
Oh, there we go. Hell's Judgment.
Hell's Judgment there.
Yeah,
Sorry
give
about
a -3 to the leader and a -3 to the Dendro there. Okay. Notably, that does Dawn -1 to Hell's Judgment, but Magellan only says on your turn, so they don't get the power attack there. Yep. Oh, yep, taking the die off, just a note. Okay, and then establishing what are we going to play out this turn. Seems like Okiku's going to be probably okay here. Okiku also doesn't counter, so a good play to the board instead of holding it in hand. And then you can either hold up 1 if you have Paradise Waterfall, or you could just establish that playing a Beige kills something, and I don't want to do that.
Exactly.
The searchers.
Will we see the Oden ability here?
The Oden ability. Ooh, trash a card to untap. That is true.
That lets us hold open Punk Gibson. We can also just pass and take whatever damage comes the next turn. Dendro is tapped, though, as well, so it's a little bit dicier to not have Punk Gibson open.
It feels like the Magellan side needs to go attack towards the board here.
Oh, and did I just see a Shinobu in the hand?
It discarded, too. Discarded.
I am done, boys. That is my favorite card in the game.
Oh, man. This is truly a special deck.
It is true to my heart to be able to cast over Shinobu. That is fantastic.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, as I was saying, the interesting thing about using the Oden ability to untap is that it feels like your opponent already wants to attack down your searchers, so you could just let them do that and then not untap and instead play towards a less safe way, but a more value way.
And Odin's suffering from something quite unique right now. You know, none of his characters are really being pressured in too much of a fashion here. So he actually had too many characters there. Untapped went to 3 Dawn. Felt the need to just hold up in the mana for Punk Gibson, and decided to play the Capone onto the table. But because he had 5 characters already, had to get rid of his own Jewelry Bonnie.
Yep. And it looks like a queen comes down again, gives us another 1,000 power to the Magellan.
I really respect the Capone play because either you're using it to protect your Dingero, or on the following turn you're trying to protect your kid.
Okay, and we see the block with a Beige. And king coming in, trying to kill. Queen coming in, trying to kill a Momo. The board is clear. Yeah, it does feel like the Beige was used to block a character there, which is fine, but you could have also just not played it and instead just let that character die to the attack.
Well, if it's Dingero, though, you kind of need it. Like, you have to have your Dingero on the table.
That is
the bread and butter, so you will sacrifice anything in order to keep that card.
Yeah, I do like that, actually, now that you called that out. Okay, and it looks like this is 8-drop Kid plus Hold Up and Punk Gibson, because that's pretty easy. You could also attach the Dawn to the 8-drop and just sit back.
The fun thing here is that you're also going to get to swing with the Dingero.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Because it will untap the 2 Dawn. You just have to play the 8-drop first in order to spend the Dawn, and then equip the last 2 you have to the Dingero, then swing and untap enough for Punk Gibson.
You could also just attach 1 to the Dingero, swing in, untap 2, use those untapped 2 to hold 1 onto the 8-drop and tap it.
And we see a second Dingero come down.
Instead it's just applying power to the board.
So, you know, that's actually, you know, a really good assessment of the game state here, to realize 8-drop Kid's not quite as powerful as what I want it to be right now. It's not it's not the game locking state. So let's put another piece of pressure on the table to kind of hide behind the 8-drop Kid on the following turn.
Yeah.
And then we will start to go in. Still at 3 life too, so not really worried about losing the game here. 6 power Okiku going to come across the table and spring most likely on leader.
No, swinging at the queen, tapping down the other queen, it looks like. And I think that's discard Minotaur there for 1K. And then trying to figure out what to do with these Dingeros. Okay, we got equip up to 9. Try and attack at the king here again, it looks like.
9's just such a good number against everything.
Oh,
so
nope,
9 on queen. That's 2/2Ks out to get it. You know,
this is also playing around just a Hell's Judgment. If your opponent just played a Hell's Judgment to give it -3 here,
really
then,
fair point there too.
You can get out of this.
You would go down to 5K if he decided to Judgment of Hell your Dingero here. So this is a really clever way to get around that. And we do see the Judgment of Hell, but we are still going to need one more 1K to get out of that. So it will still be 2 cards.
And then -3 to the other Dingero to make it a smaller attacker, which is fair. You could still attack, but I think it's probably better to establish some other card that you've got here.
And we are probably losing the other queen. Okay, we're losing a 2K to that.
Okay.
Okay, really powerful.
Yeah,
kind of telling that the card quality in your hand's not exactly what you want it to be.
Yeah, we're getting through the cards in hand. Yeah. I think we also, kind of figured out that hand quality didn't start well whenever we attacked for 9K on turn 2 it was there.
Yeah, exactly. But, double queen on the table kind of fixed hand quality.
Definitely,
for sure.
definitely fixes a lot of things.
Seen a lot of cards come up.
And then an amount of, looks like, there we go, a total of 9K coming in at the king again.
Two 9K swings there, definitely going to be powerful.
Just working through that hand after you added so many cards in the early turns, you just get to start playing this game of brutal attrition that your opponent has to.
Your opponent's down to 3. You have 2 Dingero on the table. If you get to a point in the game where you are hiding behind ACOS Kid, these attacks for 2K over are going to start to look very good.
Yep, and we see 2 discards there to get out of that attack.
And Odin still with so many cards in hand after just so many searches at the beginning of the game.
And we still get to sit here and consider, do we want to untap Dawn with our Odin?
Exactly.
After we did everything for our turn, there's still more to do.
There's still more.
Considering a card to pitch if we wanted to, it seems like we would. Holding up Punk Gibson is good.
On the Magellan side, it's certainly good. They made it through the entire turn without losing any characters. Now they're going to untap with 2 blocker queens and a king, as well as hopefully play another piece of removal. You can really start to pressure your opponent's hand back.
Sure.
Now, one of the things for Odin is that your leader is a little bit softer, and you're leaning more heavily on events in order to counter out of things. So, we could get into a pattern where, Magellan top deck versus Oden top deck. Magellan's just better at that.
Definitely. Magellan can play those high cost creatures, characters to really pressure down what's going on the board. So they probably are favored in the long game. But 8-drop Kid is also just a powerhouse, as we've already known from set 1.
Oh, absolutely. But we do have to survive with third Queen coming down.
Queen. This is Queen City.
Yes.
We're going to keep going, keep finding the cards, because apparently we need them.
2 Dawn left up. So, it will be a little bit easier to defend your Dendro with only 2 Dawn open right now.
Yeah.
That's going to be the most important thing, I think, is keeping that Dendro alive. Because that is really going to open you up for a lot of lines and many big attacks.
Yep. And also, I think a good assessment from Rodell there, seeing that, hey, I need counterpower in hand. I've already got the board controlled, so discarding Magellan is probably all right here at this point. I don't need it for another body. I have the bodies already. Just need to control what's going on.
And swinging 7K on the Okiku is just going to net you a yes. That's fine.
Yep.
But swinging on Dendro, not so easy here. So 7K here, we're probably going to see maybe a Rhizo discard. Okay, we actually are holding onto the Rhizo, which that is an immaculate amount of control. So recognizing the absolute strength that it's gonna be to 8-drop Kid, tap, put in Rhizo, and then be able to hold open a lot of attacks with Rhizo for the next few turns. Definitely a playstyle that leans more towards trying to gain cards in your hand rather than any individual card being super powerful.
And here, we play 8-drop Kid, we attack with Dendro, untap more, and man, I don't know how you play 8-drop Kid and a lot more in one turn, but we're about to see it.
We are about to see the old 12-mana turns.
You can do it again with, So, but it's not. It's kind of 14 because you do equip 2 to get over top of these queens. But yes, attacking 8K at the queens. Our opponent is still discarding out 2 cards, hemorrhaging them,
and only down to 2 or 3 cards left in hand. So we do know he has another Judgment of Hell in hand. We did see him draw that, but no Dawn open right now. So that just means that one of the cards in his hand does not do anything this turn. So the more we attack those the tapped characters there, they're just gonna fall. And so now we have to choose between, holding open event cards or swinging evenly on the king here. And we are going to swing 7K on the king.
I think that's fair. You definitely need to protect your board as much as you can.
Russ definitely sussing out that his opponent is very low on counter cards right now.
It's like tapping the 8-drop to probably put in Rhizo. If he does that, he doesn't have to attach a Dawn. No, your opponent's not forced to attack it at that point.
Still has leader ability, still has an Ezo in hand, definitely can trigger the ability. Now, we could just consider, do we actually want to put the Rhizo on the table, or do we want to discard it to our leader ability to hold open Punk Gibson?
That is also fair. And it looks like just a pass.
And you know what? We're still at 3 life. Why even worry about it when you could just leave your kid untapped?
I think your opponent's already going to be attacking the board. The Dendros are doing so much work that they're going to be attacking your board regardless.
And this is kind of pressuring your opponent who is removing their own Dawn every turn without a stage card that puts it back.
Definitely.
Okay.
Getting a quick check to make sure we don't have to attack the 8-drop, and then establishing what we want to play here. Looks like, am I seeing that right? Is that 2 cards in the hand of Magellan there?
Yes, very low cards.
Oh boy, yeah,
yes.
That is very low on
We
cards.
have pressured their board for 2 or 3 turns in a row now.
It makes sense.
Every time being able to very well defend the Queen King, but not being able to play very much else.
Sure. Play out a 2K blocker.
And this is going to be the first time that we're seeing a large attack after turn 2 or 3.
Yeah. That is an attack for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's a total of
11.
Yeah.
11K on the Dendro, going to cost him 2 cards to protect that. It may just be time.
It also could be Punk Gibson tap down the blocker. And then discard something else.
Well,
But
I think we'll have that opportunity on the next attack here.
That's also fair.
7K, and now we just get to keep 1 Dendro. We get to keep the Punk Gibson in hand for the kid.
And we untap with 8-drop.
I think we're looking very good after untapping with that 8-drop.
Definitely a little scary with all the high attack creatures on the other side of the board.
How about with the second kid in hand?
Okay, playing out the Ezo, tapping down the blocker. Playing out Law, picking up the Ezo, and putting in the Rhizo. That's very nice.
That's right. Powerful switch.
Notably blocker Law too, so it can help protect on if it was a giant attack on your kid next turn.
Yep. And now we choose, do we go face, replenish our opponent's hand a little bit, or do we start to attack that? Okay. We're just going to get the blockers off the table for next turn.
I think it's pretty good.
I mean, I think that you're in a place right now where you can just pace your opponent down at whatever speed you want.
Yeah. And we're really seeing the cascade from the early turns of being able to search up so many cards and have so many options in those early turns.
And we have 9K coming across the table. Going to put our opponent to 1. That's probably where we want to stop. And next turn, it is looking like the end of the game.
It's a lot of pressure. The queens can block, so you will have to get through those. It's not foretold here, but definitely not feeling good.
Going up to 3 cards, 4 cards on the Magellan side here. All right, and that's going to let us look at the top 5 cards of the deck.
Yep, add an Impel down, Hannibal. That's a Judgment of Hell.
That's another Judgment of Hell.
Super good. Definitely is going to help us get through this turn here of attacks.
Well, it's kind of a losing battle. You know,
it definitely is.
You leave the Dawn open for Hell's Judgment this turn. It's significantly harder to break the Kid because you have to leave the Dawn open.
Okay. Is that 6-drop Queen at the top there? Is that what that is?
I am not sure exactly. I think so, yeah.
I think it's the alt art.
Set 2 Queen. Yeah.
All right.
Yep, Dawn -1, -3 there.
Definitely makes the attack a little bit tougher.
And with Rush, we're going to come across.
Yeah, I'm sure. Coming in for 6K again.
Yep.
Would you like to discard? Yes, I will.
And still not being pressured to block with Law either.
No. Well, now the Law is the same attack power as the Kid, right? So.
Right, but you still get to protect your Kid.
Definitely.
Punk Gibson, going to tap the Hannibal down.
Sure.
It's the only tap target on the table. And so we're considering, do we swing with the last Queen we have or not?
It's a tough decision. King can definitely come across. Block with the Law. Easy.
That's a pretty easy block there, yeah. This is going to be a 9K attack with the Kid leader. And then after that, you know, it is down to 0 life on Magellan's side.
Is there a consideration to, probably not, but is there consideration to you attach your 2 Dawn to the Queen to make sure this thing dies? I don't think you can. I don't think you can afford to.
All right, we are just full out of counter power.
So we are holding up the Judgment of Hell.
But, you know, we need to do 2 damage. Will we see Raizo in the game? We very well.
I think we will. I think the Dendro will come in. We'll get a Raizo draw, and the Raizo will definitely come in for probably a decent amount. I have to imagine at least 8K after a -3 on it.
Yes. Our opponent, you know, Magellan not holding very many cards to protect. So right now I think we're just doing the math.
Definitely. And I don't think it's worth attacking the board at this point. Your opponent is already at 1 life. They have a gigantic board at this point. So
any trigger effects off the life there that we have to be concerned about?
What is it? Shockwave, right? Shockwave would be the one.
That's a black card. So
oh, that's right. That is a black card. Yep.
Not in purple.
Not in purple. No, most of the purple ones ramp you Dawn, I think, at this point, that are being played.
All right, we are going to finish up the math here, start to swing. You know, it is a little intimidating because if you do the math wrong and your attacks don't present lethal, then you are unfortunately in a position where you may just die on the crackback, given that your opponent has 3 6Ks and a 7K on the board, and you yourself are down to 3 and only 2 cards in hand. So it is a little intimidating, but you know.
Looks like what?
You want to swing with the least amount you can to get through on this first attack here. Your opponent has represented Judgment of Hell very nicely, so you need to at least get through. That's going to cost 2 there. And at that point, they just take the 1 Dendro damage and then subtract from the Raizo and the Oden leader.
Looks like we're going to go for 9 here with the
Dendro. For 9.
That means Hell's Judgment plus a 2K gets out of it.
I think that's okay, though.
Yeah, that probably is okay. That would be 2 cards out of the hand.
Dendro not getting to untap anything because we haven't played anything for the turn, but I think that's right. All Dawn's kind of going at opponent's face.
Yeah. And this is probably going to be an attack for...
This should be a very large Oden swing.
Yep.
You know, not doing it for the camera, but, you know, a stylish finish would have definitely been swing for Raizo, but that is 1K weaker and no reason to put yourself in any risk.
There's really no reason. But yeah.
All right. And that is the end of the game.
I mean, we saw power from Oden. Dinjiro's a good card.
Oden taking it there, yeah, and super important that Russ played it entirely correctly, saving the Raizo, not pitching it away, leading on the searchers, putting your hand as high as it can go, and then being really smart about when he played the kid, because he could have definitely just thrown it down.
Yes.
But when he played it, it was pretty critical, and he did not lose it until he lost every card in his hand.
Yeah, and notably only lost it to the Rush character coming out to really
which
give
is
it
really
-2 and pressure it down.
Probably him probably also doing the math, saying, well, surely there's nothing that can attack me here, and then the Rush Queen coming out of nowhere. So, pretty cool.
Yeah, very cool.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, that's it for round 4. We will be back with round 5 shortly. If you're enjoying the stream here today, just subscribe to the channel, get notified when round 5 comes up. We'll see you later.